Okay, this would be a response to Zombie Picture Show and his response to my question, do you have a rational reason to procreate? Took a while to get to my question, so I'm going to go straight to that portion of the video. Well, I took notes. So you say, when I had my daughter, it was not a rational reason to procreate. It was not a rational reason to procreate. It wasn't anything. I'm going to assume you meant you didn't have a rational reason to procreate, which I guess is the answer to my question. But then later you say, is it rational to procreate? That's an illogical question. It's not anything. Well, first, if it's an illogical question, that is something. So I don't know why you added "it's not anything." If it's not anything, it would not be an illogical question, because it's not anything. Now, I would ask you why you think it's an illogical question, but Kernuno5 asked that in the comments, and you said it's illogical because it appeals to emotion. I don't know how you figure. It's just a question. And later on, you say in your reply, a better question will be, is it logical to have a child? How is that any different? That's the same question reworded. I simply want to know if you have a rational reason to procreate. Is it logical to have a child? That's what procreation is, creating a child. I mean, rational and logical are synonymous. So I think I got my answer. You said twice you said it was not a rational reason to procreate when you had your daughter. In other words, you didn't have a rational reason. So yeah, you don't have a rational reason to procreate. It wasn't logical to procreate. You say something about we procreate because we get irrational emotions like empathy and sympathy. Now, I don't think empathy and sympathy are necessarily irrational. I mean, without empathy, you got to have some empathy to not bash somebody's face in, right? You got to say, well, you know, he's another biological organism like me, and unless he's attacking me, I shouldn't be bashing his face in, regardless of how much he might piss me off. So yeah, emotions are not necessarily irrational. I mean, when you see someone I saw a kid get hit by a car, and it was pretty bad. He lived. He got a pretty bad broken leg, but I felt empathy and sympathy for the kid. It was tragic. I mean, I saw him. He was waiting for a green light. It was at a T intersection, and for whatever reason, he just started going against a red light. And he was just looking straight ahead, just boogieing as fast as he could on his bike. And I was like, I mean, there's nothing anybody could do, really. I was like 5 cars back, waiting to make a left turn, and he looked like he was happy as can be, just pedaling as fast as he can. I guess he thought he had an opening or something, but he got smacked by a car going about 45 miles per hour, and he went from complete joy to complete shock and horror. Yeah, had empathy and sympathy for the kid. So I guess that's all I got, really. I mean, we could talk about, again, you start off talking about in order to say that procreation is an illogical act, you have to begin with the premise that the non-existent child is better off to never have been. That is inescapable logic. Agreed? Well, actually, that better never to have been is a conclusion based on premises. Premises like there's no need to create need in another. It's not ethical to place the burden of existence on a new life. It's not ethical to put another at risk for your irrational desire to procreate, or that existence is futile, like you say in the video. Everything dies. Everything dies. We're only here for a little bit, right? You're imposing a futile existence on somebody else. So those are the premises to the conclusion that's better off never to have been. You say it's an irrational premise. Well, it's actually a conclusion again, or in fact, it's an empathetic one. Again, well, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing irrational necessarily about empathy. I mean, you could misplace empathy, like if a woman's getting raped and you have empathy for the rapist instead of the victim, that would be misplaced empathy. But having empathy for the rape victim is not irrational. You say in the philosophy world it is a counterfactual premise. Well, again, the premises are not counterfactual. There was a time when we did not exist. That's a fact. Then we exist for a short while, but it seems like forever. Then we go back to non-existence. So there's no counterfactual in there. It's actually a material conditional, because it is a fact that at one time we did not exist. Say there's only empathy for possible future beings. Well, you know, we have the ability. We know there's going to be people in the future. Should we bring more people in the future, or shouldn't we? Should we? I mean, we know what's going to happen when we bring someone into existence. Yeah, and then we're going to have empathy. But we can say, well, instead of bringing them into the world and then having to have empathy for them and trying to protect their welfare, just don't bring them into existence. Say there's no data for non-existent beings. Well, we can look at the facts. We know that there was a time when we did not exist, and we can say things about that non-existence. The non-existent cannot be harmed. Non-existent cannot feel pleasure. We can say that. You say instead of saying it's better never to have been, it's better to mitigate suffering than to end it. I'll just have to disagree. It's not really ending it, it's preventing it. When you choose not to procreate, even though you may want to procreate, you are preventing suffering. I think it's better to prevent than to bring it into existence and then mitigate the suffering. Again, you say we're only here for a little bit. Why even bother? And you go into about the human genome, whatever. Yeah, I say it's better to prevent suffering than to mitigate it, than to bring someone into existence to suffer and then mitigate that suffering. It's better just to prevent it. There's no rational reason to procreate. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching.